Welcome to Bayesian statistics, hierarchical models. In this video, we're actually going to fit a hierarchical model. So we're going to jump over to R to do that right now so that we can see how these things are put together. All right, we're here in R, and this is a hierarchical regression, try one. And the reason I say it's try one is because we're going to look at the simpler version of the hierarchical regression where we don't have a covariate at the second level. This is to get you rolling on it. You'll notice that you have to structure your data differently for a hierarchical regression, so just be aware of that. All right, so we're going to write in our library, R to JAGS, and we're going to read in our data here, which is repimp.csv, and it is available on Canvas, and I should make it available on a GitHub somewhere. So there should be a link in the description to where you can get this. So I'm going to run it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define the model, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. Because before we only had a loop for when I is in 1 to n1 in this case. Fortunately, in our data set, all of the n have all of the g have the same number of n. It gets more complicated when you have to index ni by how many of by j's, because each group has a different n, but we're skipping that here. So we're going to have y in group j, which is the row, column I. It's going to be follow d norm mu. That's going to have two coordinates as well, row j, column I, sigma 1. And then mu ji is going to follow beta j plus beta 1j plus I, xi. Okay, so these coefficients change by each of the groups. And here xi isn't xji because it's the same value for each of these in this case, just to make things a little easier. Now, these have a prior distribution here. So I've got beta 0j has a mean, it's normal, and has a mean of b0 mu and a variance of b0s. Okay, and that's precision actually. Okay, then here we have b1j is d norm, b1 mu, b1s, which is its precision. And here are the prior distributions for the means and the variances. Notice we have the same variance over here as well for sigma. We could have indexed that as well, but we didn't. And we're just trying to make our lives easier here. Let's not overcomplicate everything. So this is a simple model of how to do this. But notice you have a nested loop because you have to do it for each group and for each value within that group. So, and then I'm going to write this out to model 2. So mod 2 JAGS. So I'm going to run all of this. And it wrote it out to our thing. Now this is where it's going to take a little bit of effort, because if you look at the structure of the data is not as nice as you would like it to be because it's in a long format. What we're trying to do here is compress it down into a wide format so that everything looks good. So here, xi, we're going to just get the data. We're going to look at the data if you want, but you're going to grab the dosage xi from just the first subject because everybody got the same doses. We're just going to see how it behaves across. Since everybody got the same dosage, the N1 is the same. G1 is the number of subjects. And then we're going to bind it together. Okay, we're going to make it a wide data set. And there's lots of ways to do this. This is just the way I did it because it's extremely explicit. R bind means I'm putting columns together. I'm making everything line up. Okay, so let's do this. And then I would highly suggest you actually run this and see what it does. I'm not going to show you every single detail because this video would run an hour, and I don't think that's a valuable use of your time, especially if you can run it on your own. And a lot of this is just copy and paste. Okay, so like before, we're going to set up a list of our data. We have y1, x1, n1, g1. Once we have that, we should be able to move forward. Our parameters, we just have to pay attention to what parameters we actually have in the model. We have B0, B1, B0 mu, B1 mu, B0S, B1S, and sigma 1. Now, we actually have each of these individually, right? So B0 is going to be a vector. B1 is going to be a vector. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. It's not just a simple single value that it's going to save, and you'll see all the parameters that it actually does. So for all of these, now I can't just give it the value 0. I have to give it a 0 for each group. So I'm going to repeat 0 G1 times, which is the number of groups. I'm going to repeat 0 G1 times, because that's the number of groups for the mean for B1, and sig1 is going to be equal to 1. Okay, so this is the starting values that I need for this. Then I'm going to run the model here, and then we'll look at the trace plots. So when I run the model, I made a mistake. Don't make mistakes. Here, I'm going to run the model, and it's going to do something. And notice it actually did it really fast, which is good. Now I can look at the trace plots, and that's where the fun comes in. So we have trace plots here, and highlight it, trace plot, run. And we can start looking at these. Now I'm going to move this up some. Enter. Enter. So I went past the first one, but here you can see for beta 0, said nope, didn't like that one. Beta 0, the second one. Beta 0, the third one. Beta 0 for the fourth group. Beta 0 for the fifth group. Beta 0 for the sixth group. And if you pay attention here, you can see the scale is changing on these. Beta 0 for the seventh group. Beta 0 for the eighth group. And then beta 0 for the ninth group. So you can see these intercepts are different for each group. For the 10th group, 11th group, 12th group, 13th group, and 14th group. 15th group, 16th group, 17th group, 18th group, 19th group, 20. Like, wow, that's a lot of parameters, actually. And it is. It is a lot of parameters. And here, this beta 0 mu, it represents the average of the beta zeros across all of the groupings. Okay, so this one is group independent. So that makes it work well. And then I have the variance for the beta zeros, saying how much the beta zeros vary from each other. That's what that measures. Then I have beta 1 for the first group, and so on. And you can see the scale change on the left side of these pictures as I go through them. Because, oh, that one was negative, and the other one was, that's negative, negative, really negative, somewhat negative. That's really negative compared to the other ones. Much worse than the other ones. Okay, so you can see that scale shifting, showing you the magnitude of these. And notice they're not all the same value, and that should be okay. All right, so we now have the average across all of them. So this is the average slope across all of the groups. And this is how much the slopes vary between the groups here. And here's the deviance, which we always love, and sigma 1, which is the variance of the data. Okay, so now we've got this thing run, and we can start making inferences on it. And I'm not going to show you how to do that here because we've been doing it over and over and over again. You know how to get the quantiles. You know how to get all of the pieces. Because there are so many parameters, it would take a while in this video to go through all of them. So I'm going to leave it to you to do it and try it out. It's not that hard to do. It just takes some time. And I'll put a link in the description where you can get the data, and I'll put this code at the same link. So you should be able to do it on your own and give it a go. That's what I would recommend, because you don't want to have to type all this in again. On the previous ones, I had you type stuff in, but this is rather long, a little bit more complicated, so I'll give it to you in this case. All right, so I'm not going to really go over really complicated hierarchical models, but this is the idea of it. You have groups, each group gets a model, and then you can average those models together using this hierarchical structure, and you can also include covariates at different levels, which is really nice. In the next video, we're going to start looking at hypothesis testing using Bayes factors. So just keep that in mind. We haven't covered hypothesis testing yet. Most of what we've done is prediction and estimation. So let's do some hypothesis testing and see how weird things can get. And I will see you there.